Well, I'm back in Philly and it is cold as hell around here right now. It's a doomy gloomy night, but I'm ready for part 6 of how I healed my depression naturally. Roll it. And welcome to Freedom Friday, where you learn how to free yourself and live your dreams. I'm Darienne from DariaWaken.com, and we're on part 6. And as I said, it is cold as hell in Philadelphia tonight. I decided to shoot the video at night, which I really don't ever do. And it's like cold and rainy. You might even be able to hear the rain because you're in the window right now. And I got like a little candle lit right now. It smells good. It smells like pumpkin vanilla. And I got some tea. So grab some tea with me and cozy up. And I got my new maternity sweater on to fit my growing belly. And I'm ready for part 6. So today is, of course there's a bug flying around in my room. Today is it's a very appropriate lesson, I think, because it always works out that way. That it's always, you learn what you teach, and you teach what you learn. And today I am teaching something that I learned many years ago, but we don't just learn lessons once. Pretty often we get to learn them again and again and again and again. We get practice. Universe gives us the opportunity to practice. So I had plenty of practice with this one yesterday. So my next step in healing my depression, after I realized that, you know, from last week when I was in British Columbia, I hope you enjoyed the beautiful mountains. If you did not get that video, it's probably because you're not signed up for Freedom Friday, so you might want to do that in the description below on DariaWaken.com. But the next lesson that I learned was that happiness is a choice. And you know, recently I've been listening to a lot. I have been drowning, blissfully drowning in Abraham Hicks audios and videos on YouTube. I would highly recommend listening if you're ready for it. If it's like way too weird or you're just not driving with it, then don't listen to it. But I have been totally drowning in it. And it's what Abraham talks about very often is that we need to learn how to have unconditional joy. And what that means is learning that, you know, we can be happy literally for no reason. That we can create happiness within us. And I realized that. I realized that when I thought about good stuff, I could create this feeling of joy within me. Or even when I just set the intention to be happy, like, you know, let's say I'm not in a pissed off mood, I'm in a very sort of just generic mood. I'm not happy, I'm not sad, I'm not anything. And I'm just like, I would say, well, I'm going to try to feel joy right now. And I would conjure up this feeling of joy. Okay, what does joy feel like? All right, well, let me think about the joyful times that I've had or the people in my life that have brought me joy. And what did that feeling feel like? And then I would start to really focus on that, because anything you focus on is going to, eventually it's going to grow. So I would start to feel that feeling of joy, and I could feel the physical feelings of it. And it made me realize that I could create joy within myself. Whether, you know, at that point when I had just started to really work through and heal my depression, heal my mind essentially is what I was healing. When I really started to do that, you know, I had just been homeless. I had to move back in with my dad. I had my Look at my face. I had my 5-year-old daughter. The two of us were sleeping in my dad's living room on a love seat together, sharing a love seat. I mean, my feet hung over, and we're sharing a love seat every night. That's what we slept on. The house was in no way, shape, or form for a 5-year-old little girl to be living in, or let alone me to be living in. I didn't have a job. I had a lot going on in my life that I could have been unhappy about. But when I had those moments, and when I went through all of those steps that I went through in the prior videos, I started to realize that I could just feel joy at any time. So the opportunity to practice this came up yesterday when I had an encounter with a certain someone that has asked me not to speak about them. So I'm not going to mention who I was speaking to. But this person was very, very, very upset with me. And whatever was in their mind about the person I was, or whatever perception they had of me, was extremely terrible at the time. It seemed really awful. And I was like, wow, they have a really terrible perception of me. And, you know, there's so many times in the past where I would have wanted to change their perception of me. Well, that's not who I am. That's not true. I'm not this, you know, this terrible person you're painting me out to be. That was, you know, that's kind of a very normal response from anybody. But I decided to practice this. And I decided to not jump in with them and see if I could really stay centered. I mean, genuinely centered, not disengaged, which, you know, not like when somebody's yelling in your face and you're just like, you know, not that kind of disengaged where you're silently really trying to make a point, you know. I genuinely decided to see all that I loved within that person. And so it became a very strange encounter, because as I was genuinely with all my heart saying, you know, I love you. I do love you. And I see your light. And I will never forget that. And that's literally what I was saying to them. And they were coming back with this crazy idea that I was something. I mean, it was like we were having we were just on two different planets having two completely different conversations. But, you know, and the lesson learned from that is that I can't control conditions. I can't control how this person feels about me. But what I can control is whether I decide to be upset about it or not. Whether I decide to allow it to take my joy from me or not. So it ended up being a very strange, not matching vibrational conversation where I was about as in tune with my true self as I have ever been in a discussion with this, in a heated discussion with this person. Normally, not normally, but very often I either disengage or I'm jumping right at them and we're both, you know, in this argument. And this time I just said, you know, I'm just going to see the light in this person. I'm just going to decide to focus on all the joy this person has ever brought me. I'm just going to decide to feel the feelings of love for this person. And when I did that, it really ticked them off. It really ticked them off, and I could have very easily gotten way out of it. I could have snapped out of my lovey-doveyness, and there were times where it was almost like they were trying to pull me out of it, or I was trying to go to it. But it was interesting. It was an interesting little experiment. So, and again, I know that the universe will give me plenty of times to practice that, but I want you to start experimenting with that. And this, you don't have to have had depression to experiment with unconditional happiness. Start to see if you can feel the feelings of joy, regardless of your surroundings. And practice. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been exploring my mindset and my capabilities for a very, very, very long time. Well, not that long, but like, you know, it's been about 6 or 7 years that I practice this every single day. So don't get upset with yourself if you're not able to see the love in someone that is calling you lots of names and mean things and screaming in your face. Don't feel bad if you can't go from depression to, you know, Zen Jesus like I love everybody. And I'm not even there yet. It's just a little experiment. So, but I do want you to not be so hard on yourself or attempt to do something that big from a place of depression. But I do want you to start to experiment with joy. When you are in a very neutral state, just kind of see if you can feel joy. See if you can feel the feelings and have, you know, the memories that have brought you joy kind of manifest those emotions and play around with it. And really what happened from that was I realized that I could create any feeling that I wanted, that it was my choice. And it was the most empowering thing, one of the most empowering things I think I've ever felt. You know, I had control of my emotions. And when it comes down to it, we're all trying to manifest this magical, you know, life of our dreams. And the real reason for that is because how we want to feel. We think it's going to make us feel a certain way. But when we make our emotions unconditional and we, in a sense, detach from the conditions and we say, I'm going to feel the way I want to feel regardless, what will happen is you will start to manifest those dreams. You will feel in absolute alignment with them and you'll just feel good. So take back your control. Happiness is a choice. I want you to practice with that one. I love you guys so much. And I will see you next week. Make sure you follow me on all throughout social media at Darienne Empire and sign up for Freedom Friday on DarianeAwaken.com. Bye guys. Mwah. So now I'm gonna free.